All right, welcome to Finance Friday. Once again, we are back. It is Friday. My name is Jerry. I'm the owner, founder, CEO of Wealth DynamX, coming to you live again with another weekly course. Now, we've been doing these for quite some time. This is the second time, maybe the third time I've specifically covered this topic, but it's called the Triangle of Wealth. Okay, and the Triangle of Wealth is one of my favorite things out there because it's so simple and true, and that's what this is all about: is financial information that is simple, true, easy for us to apply and understand. But it's something that all of us can do. There's literally like nothing prevents us from doing the information that I'm going to cover tonight. Now, before we get started, I want to cover some ground-based rules, things that I talk about every week. Number one is I want you to have a purpose for being here, whether you're watching live, Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, whatever it might be, replay, whatever it might be. I want you to get really quick a moment and think about, why am I watching this? Okay. Why am I here on a Friday night or a Saturday afternoon watching the replay when I could be doing other things? And instead I'm learning about finances. Okay. Because there's got to be a reason. Nobody just watches this stuff for fun. Okay. Unless maybe you're me and a select few people that I know, but most people, they don't just watch this for fun. You're here for a reason. You're trying to learn something. Okay, so I want to share with you, have that purpose locked in, because that's going to help you think about application as we go through the information today. The second thing is, if we go over anything that doesn't make sense, I want you to ask questions. We're going to stop periodically. I'll go live with you and answer your questions. So if you have them, drop them in the comments, drop them in Zoom in the chat feature. If you're on Facebook, just drop a comment and I will answer your questions live. And then also, if you go over anything that doesn't make sense as far as a concept or a word, it basically, like I've said before, it's all basic math and vocabulary. Okay, so I don't want there to be this giant mystery around money. It comes down to, I either said a word you didn't know, or I went over a math problem that you didn't quite catch. Maybe it didn't make sense to you, right? So that's something I want you to stop, ask questions about as well. And then also, I want you to come from the mindset of being a producer tonight with the information, not a consumer, a producer, okay? And the difference between a producer and a consumer is, a consumer, like we talked about initially, they learn things just to hear them, right? At best, to regurgitate the answers later. They don't think about, how am I going to apply the information? A producer immediately is thinking about, okay, how do I use this? Okay, how do I use this? How do I share it? How do I take something from it and actually bring something forth that wasn't there before? Okay. So I want to make sure that we go over that. Obviously, if you're watching, share the feed. My team, if you guys can share this in our Facebook group and then on my Facebook page, that would be amazing. But without further ado, I want to jump into our lesson today. So this is called the Triangle of Wealth. Okay. And I'm going to kind of cover a little bit of where I came up with this, how I came up with this. It's very simple. I'm not going to tell you that I came up with it myself. Everyone's always known this, but we forget it. We forget it. We get distracted. It gets dressed up in fancy marketing lingo and it loses its meaning because we don't understand it any longer. But the Triangle of Wealth is how all wealth is built forever. Like always in the past, it's been this way. It's this way now. Nothing has changed that. In the future, it's going to be this way as well. And the Triangle of Wealth looks like this. It's got 3 points, just like any triangle. The first point is earn. Second point is save. Third point is invest. Okay, and I've heard so many variations. When I first started learning about finances, I would hear things like, make, keep, multiply, or things that they sounded a lot sexier than earn, save, invest. But here was my problem. How do I make money? I didn't know that. Like when I thought make, I was like, well, am I supposed to create it out of thin air? Like, how do I do that? How do I make money? Right? Same thing with keep. Like, what do you mean by keep? That was something where I was like, okay, do I keep it like I don't ever spend it? Like, what do we mean by keeping money? Right? And then multiply, that was the one that was the most, I would say, mind-boggling to me. Is like, how the hell do I multiply money? These were things I didn't know. I didn't understand this right off the bat. And so I had to then start looking at, okay, well, what do we do here? Because I would hear things like, make, keep, multiply, but then I would hear the same exact people telling me savers are losers. Who's ever noticed that? You'll hear someone and they're an online influencer and they're like, you gotta keep your money and then multiply. And then they're like, yes, savers are losers. And you're like, how do I you see what I mean? How do I keep it? Like if I'm not supposed to save it, what do you mean by keep the money? Right. And how is that, making me a winner when you just said I'm a loser if I'm doing that? So I was very confused and I started to realize others were as well. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, well, what other word do we use? specifically on the saving point, what other word do we use? Because I would say save, and then you'd have the Robert Kiyosaki crowd, the Grant Cardone crowd as well. Savers or losers, use debt, borrow money. And it's like, okay, cool. But last time I checked, when I try and get money from a bank, they asked me, how much did I earn and how much did I save? And if I didn't do those things, they're not going to give me debt. So how do I just get debt? Right. So all of this was very confusing. And then I was like, okay, cool. So we already know that this is the case, and we don't need to call it anything different than it already is. It's just earn, save, and invest. It always has been. It always will be. There's not another thing we need to call it. So I'm going to go over tonight these 3 points. I've talked about these before. That's a little bit about how I came up with this. But I relate this to fitness. Anyone here that is into fitness, okay? You got to work out every day, right? You got to eat right. And if you do those 2 things and you drink enough water, you're going to lose weight. You're going to build muscle, right? It's 3 things. And sure, there are personal trainers that you can hire. There are supplements you can take. There's different ways you can exercise. But at the end of the day, if you burn more than you consume, you will lose weight, right? If you consume more than you burn, you will gain weight. And all of the other stuff just enhances that basic law. Nothing changes the law, right? And so this is similar, where as long as I earn, save, and invest, it really doesn't matter how or where or why I do it. As long as I do it, something good's going to happen with my finances, right? Now, here's the question that I want to start with tonight. If it's this simple, why are 80% of Americans paycheck to paycheck, right? How come 60% of America has less than $1,000 saved, right? Why is it that the average retiree is going to run out of money within 10 years of retiring? If it's this simple, why do the stats look the way they do? Okay. Now, part of it, and I'm going to cover this first, part of it is the same reason why people are out of shape. They're overweight. They don't care. They're too lazy to go to the gym. They don't want to do the diet. There's other things they would rather do. It's not a priority. Okay. So that's the first thing you have to ask yourself. Is this a priority? Is it a priority for me to earn more income? Is it a priority for me to save? Is it a priority for me to invest? And if it's not, I shouldn't be surprised as to why it's not happening. Right? Mark says lack of discipline, right? And when it's a priority, you've got to use the discipline. But a lot of people, this is not even something they care about, right? And it's never one of those things where people are going to say they don't care about it. It's kind of like, it's a weird example. Sometimes I see parents and I'm like, do they actually like their kids? Right? And they're never going to come right out and say, no, I don't, because a parent would never say that, even if it was true. But it's like the way they act, you're like, I don't think they really liked the fact that they have kids, right? Like, just you've seen that in the store or whatever, and you're like, I don't think that person enjoys being a parent. They're never going to tell you they don't enjoy being a parent, but you'll see it through their actions. Just like someone's not going to tell you financial freedom doesn't matter, right? Unless they're very low on the scale of responsibility and control over their finances. Usually they're going to give you some, even if it's rhetoric and they're repeating what other people have said, they're going to give you some answer of like, yeah, it matters, or something motivational or something they've heard before. And they're going to repeat that because that's what you're supposed to say. Right. But if something is a priority, like Mark said, I then have to take action. I then have to put discipline into it. That's going to be something I do over a prolonged period of time. Otherwise, I can't expect to get results. Just like I wouldn't expect to be like, hey, I never worked out, I never dieted. Now all of a sudden I look like a bodybuilder. Physiologically, scientifically, impossible. What I'm telling you is this here, mathematically impossible. Okay. For me, math beats science. Science can be like maybe, sometimes, kind of, sort of. Math is like, no. 5 + 5 is 10. Okay. And if you think different, you're not intelligent. You don't understand math. There's not like another answer we can come up with there. It just is the math. So if we don't earn, save, and invest, we're not going to build wealth. The prior step to that is it has to be a priority. And what I want to get the point across on tonight, before it can be a priority, it has to be something that we have some semblance of understanding on. I can't prioritize something I don't know about. Okay. And this is where I want to give everyone a little bit of permission to give yourself some permission to be like, okay, cool. I wasn't taught this in school, right? Like the things that I'm going to share with you tonight, it's not things that I would expect you to know by osmosis. It's not things I would expect, a newborn baby to just grow up and all of a sudden be like breathing. Like no one ever had to teach the kid how to breathe. It's not like that. You have to teach someone how finances work, because the basic premise, it might be natural behaviors that we're going to talk about tonight. But above that, there's then Okay, well, when I earn, how do I do that? What vehicles do I use? How do I avoid, certain taxation? And then I go to saving, and where do I save it? And how long do I put it there? And how do I do that the right way? And then investing, that's even more confusing. And it's like, how do I do that correctly? And then on top of all of that, there's a bunch of arbitrary words and fancy language that the financial institutions have come up with on purpose to confuse you and confuse me so that we feel like we need them in our lives. Nobody's just going to know that. Okay, so if you're watching this tonight and you're like, okay, like Jerry, me, I didn't learn about this in school. I didn't have rich parents. I didn't have anyone in my life growing up that was financially savvy that sat down and was like, hey, I'm going to teach you about money. Okay, and it would have been great if I had that, but I think I'm happy that I didn't. Part of my story is that I had to go learn it. And I'm proud that I did, because I don't think that I would know as much as I know. At 12 years old, had somebody sat down and said, hey, let's have the money talk, I might have taken it for granted. But because I grew up with my parents getting divorced, because I grew up, living homeless several times before, because I grew up, having to work from the time I was probably 10 or 11, which I'm not complaining about that. That was awesome. I got to earn income, but I had these experiences that made me realize the importance of knowing about money. Okay. And if you're watching this tonight and you've had those experiences too, that's part of point number one of have a purpose for being here. Okay. Because you have the power right now to take that life experience and now combine it with the right knowledge. And I'm telling you, when you align those things, there's no greater motivation than that. Okay. Especially if you have kids, especially if you have a spouse, especially if you have something in your life that matters and your financial freedom depends on that. Okay. I posted this on my Instagram today. This is not about finances. It is, right? Like, obviously, but I'm telling you, at the root of this is freedom. Okay. Freedom does not exist if we don't have financial freedom. I can have every type of freedom in the world, and if I'm missing financial freedom, I don't really have freedom. Right? Because money is one of the number one barriers next to gravity, oxygen, having to sleep, having to eat, having to go to the bathroom. The next one is money. If I don't have money, I don't have a place to live. I can't feed myself. I can't provide for myself. I can't get transportation. I can't give. I can't do anything if I don't have financial means. So I'm faced with three decisions. Okay. Do I live in denial and pretend none of it exists? And as long as I've got enough money to pay the bills and there's some left over to go have fun and to squirrel away and say I'm saving for retirement, everything's great and peachy? Or do I live in poverty and just say, hey, I'm not even going to do money. Okay, I'm going to be homeless in the bushes and I'm never going to have any bills or payments. That's an option for all of us. Or I'm going to build wealth. Okay, I'm going to build such financial abundance and prosperity that I can treat money like oxygen and I don't even consider it in my life. Take it in when I need it, get rid of it when I don't need it, right? So that's the decision we're faced with, and it comes down to these. Now, I want to talk about this first point of earn. Okay. This is one that I want to hit hard tonight because I want to make sure you guys understand my mindset with it. I want to make sure you understand where I think you need to be with it. This is the freaking gas pedal. Earn more damn income. You have to earn income. I have to earn income. The speed at which I build financial freedom and wealth is dependent on how quickly and how fast and how much do I earn. Okay. And if I don't earn more, I can't save more. I can't invest more. Now, this is, I think, one of the trickiest ones because we have this mechanism of like US dollars and banks and all these different, politicians and this vast, vague thing called the economy. And we're all led to believe that somehow these things impact our lives. Guarantee it, right? Like at some point in your life, maybe it's even now, you're like, yeah, what Joe Biden says on the news impacts my income. Guys, it doesn't. The way that I can prove that is you could walk out your door right now and get money from someone. You could get US dollars from someone immediately by, you could do it a number of ways. You could exchange with them. You could ask for a donation. You could rob them. I'm not saying you should, but I'm saying that's getting income, right? It literally says on your tax return if you stole money to report it. Okay. It's like talking about theft on there. Not saying you should steal, but I'm saying that is proof. Okay. It doesn't, like Joe Biden wasn't outside your door. Joe Rogan wasn't outside your door. The Federal Reserve wasn't outside your door regulating whether or not you could do that. Okay. They don't come to your office every day and put a damper on the amount of phone calls you make if you're a salesperson. If you're a business owner, they don't control your customer service levels. You do that. If you're an employee, they don't control the hours you work. You do that. So earning income is actually a direct correlation with my own personal responsibility. Okay, now here's the tricky part. Initially, this is going to be active. Okay, we're trying to build financial freedom. Financial independence is one of the points of that scale that we're going to achieve. Financial independence means, okay, so financial independence means that I no longer trade time for money. I don't have to. I'm not obligated to do that anymore. Right now, 95% probably of us have to. Like, there's not a choice. When we wake up on Monday after the weekend, we have to go to work. Whether we're a business owner or we're self-employed or we're an employee, we have the obligation of having to trade time for money because we don't have the luxury of not doing that. Like I said, we've got the rent or the mortgage or the car payment and the groceries. And if we don't keep running on the treadmill, those things aren't going to get taken care of, right? So it's tricky and it's ironic because we're trying to get out of that. We're not saying, I'm not telling you we're getting out of earning income. I'm saying the obligation, having to do that to survive. Okay, being dependent on that in order to be able to live my life. That's not financial independence. So when I'm trying to get financial independence, I'm getting rid of the obligation. Okay, sometimes this is one of the areas that people struggle. We get the mindset that that means earned income is a bad thing. Okay, and we're like, okay, well, if it wasn't passive, if it wasn't from an investment, it's lesser quality income. I've even heard some gurus say that. Guys, no, it's not. Income is income. Okay, this income that you're earning, whether it was active, passive, whatever it was, then can get saved and can invest. It is the very thing that's going to make you financially free. Okay, it's a myth. It takes active income. It takes earned income. There's not going to be some secret get rich quick magic pill, e-commerce, cryptocurrency, Shopify store, Facebook marketing, Amazon store, whatever you want to do. That's this magic new passive way to earn income. It doesn't exist. Okay, you will put work into it or you will put capital into it. If you can't put capital into it, meaning money, dollars, if you can't put capital, then you've got to supplement with work. Okay, if you've got the capital, sure, you don't have to put work into it. You can put capital into it. But again, if I don't have the capital to do that, where am I going to get that from? Okay, so it's a myth. And it's what I want to relate this to. Who's ever heard the phrase, you can't fight fire with fire? Okay, sounds super convincing. And it makes sense. You're like, you can't fight fire with fire. Did you know in Alaska, that's actually how they fight fire? When there's wildfires, what they do is all the firefighters, one of my buddies is a former firefighter, they go around with blowtorches and they purposely burn a perimeter around the fire so that all of the wood is already burned and then the fire can't keep burning it because it's already burned. They're fighting fire with fire. You earning income so that you can save it, so that I can then invest the income is me fighting fire with fire. I've got to do that. There's no way around it unless I win the lottery or marry into wealth or, suddenly socialism works, right? There's no way for me to not earn income. Okay, so if I'm not earning enough income, that's one of the reasons why is because secretly I've got this thing against earning income and I'm like, it's got to be passive. And I'm telling you that's wrong. That's not the truth. Okay, it's got to be active until you have enough saved and enough invested that you have the passive and don't have to earn anymore. That's the point. But you're not there yet. If you're not there yet, you've got to get there. You do that by earning. Okay. Now, how do I do this? How do I earn more income? Go work. Go do more of what you do now to earn income. There's no secret. And this is another thing that gets in the way of people earning more income. It's active and it's also going to look a lot like what you already do. Right? If someone's like, go earn income and you're like, okay, well then I need to start a new business. No. You're inserting arbitrary things you have to do between you and the outcome you need now. Okay. To earn more income, you go to the job that you have or the business that you have and you produce there. It's kind of like me being married and saying, I'm going to have kids and then somehow come into the conclusion of, okay, that means I need to go find another woman to have kids. No, I would have kids with my wife. That's the woman I'm with. That's where I would have my children. That's who I would have them. It wouldn't be like, oh, I need to get another one. Like same thing with the job. Oh, I need to get another one. If you have food in front of you and someone says eat, you're not like, okay, I need to go cook some dinner. No, you have a damn plate in front of you with food on it. Okay. And I know I'm beating the dead horse here, but guys, earn income, like go do the thing you do already. And this is another thing that, again, I don't think it's a real reason. I think we've come up with this because we are kind of lazy and we don't want to do the work. We want the outcome, but we don't want to do the work. We want to lose weight, but we still want the burgers and donuts. Okay, we want financial freedom, but we don't want to have to go punch the clock to get there. Right? So earning income, it's active and it's going to look a lot like what we already do. Okay, and the ice cream, Nano says, and everyone likes the ice cream. Actually, guys, I had some, no joke, I had some avocado ice cream. It's called Cardone. And I'm not going to tell you can have as much of it as you want to, but it was a healthy alternative to the ice cream. So Nano, maybe check out the Cardone ice cream. Okay. So this is the earning income side. Now, guys, the beautiful part about earning income is if you can attach it to adding value, right? Adding value to others, it's not something you're going to dread. Right? The only time I've dreaded earning income was when I wasn't adding value to others and I wasn't doing my best. Okay, when I was adding value to other people and I was doing my best, I was always happy. Okay, like I think back to the pizza job. Like if you don't know me, as Justin Goff was saying, he does pizza on Friday. I do too. I love pizza. Pizza is like literally easily my favorite food out there. I'm a pepperoni pizza fiend. Okay, I worked at a pizza joint from like age 17 to like 21 or 22. Okay, so I hated that job because most of the time I had a bad attitude, right? Most of the time I didn't like my coworkers. Okay. Most of the time I wasn't trying very hard. I wasn't doing my very best. I wasn't adding a lot of value. I was just putting the pizza in the bag, getting in the car, dropping it off. And I was like, okay, where's the next one? When's my shift end? Right. Had I been like, okay, I want to own the pizza joint, or, you know, I want to earn a certain amount in tips tonight, and I'm going to do that by wowing people with speed and service. Right. Or I'm going to try and make an impact on my coworkers. I probably would have enjoyed that job more. Okay. There's things I do in my business. This is another one that's a myth on earn is this bullshit here. It's the ESBI. Okay. I might even get some hate on this. This is garbage, guys. The idea that if you're an employee, somehow your income is lesser than your self-employed income, or the idea that your self-employed income is somehow lesser than being a business owner, or the idea that if you're a business owner, it's somehow lesser than being an investor. Guys, it's all taxed the same. If you earn income, you're going to pay income tax on it as an employee. If you're self-employed, you're actually going to pay more income tax because now you pay your own self-employment tax. So that's worse. If you're a business owner, if you can even get to the point of being in phase 2 in a business where you're not directly involved in the day-to-day operations, if you can even get there, because it's very difficult, that's income that, again, like you're still going to get taxed on. If you're an investor, like, okay, great. Like you still pay taxes. Income is income. You don't need to quit your job and start your self-employment. If you're self-employed, you probably have more work and less profit than when you were an employee. Okay, I can attest that. When I started my business, it was a hard couple of first years, man. That pizza job looked really good sometimes because when I took home my profit and loss and it said I made 30 grand and I worked 70 hours that week and 30 grand is what I did doing the pizza job, I started thinking about, man, it was a lot easier back there. Okay. And then I built my way over to here, right? I'm still not in phase 2. I still work every day. I still have business that I run every day. It might not be sales calls and things I used to do, but I'm not in the point where everyone else runs my business for me. Okay. And it's been a while. It's been several years. I do investing, right? I have my passive income sources, but at the end of the day, all of it gets saved. All of it. It's like you're eating food. You're going to stick it in your mouth and chew it all up anyways. It doesn't matter what's what. You just need income right now. Okay, so those are the points I want to cover on income. Now, income is earned through currency. That currency in the United States of America is US dollars. So when you're earning in that currency. On to the next point, save. Okay, we have to save. We have to save money because if we don't save money, we can't invest money because we can't invest what we don't have. Even if we're using OPM, other people's money, the bank's not going to loan us money if we don't have any of our own. And even if they would, I would tell you, if you can't be responsible with your own stuff, why would you go get theirs? They're suppressive. They're not trying to help you. The bank's not your friend. Okay. They're trying to leech the life out of you for the rest of your life for as long as they can and get as much of your income as they possibly can. Because when you borrow from the bank, you become their investment. That's the truth of the matter. Okay. So save what you earn. Now, here's the thing. And this is the one that got switched on us. When prior to 1971, the US dollar used to be backed by gold. Okay, if you didn't know that, you know that now. Okay, it used to be backed by gold. What that meant is when I earned a dollar, okay, that dollar was actually a coupon. That coupon represented a certain amount of gold, and I could actually go and exchange it and get gold. It was a deposit receipt for deposited goods. The deposited goods was gold. Okay, after 1971, they unhitched the dollar from gold. Okay. So what that means is prior to 1971, I could save in dollars and actually have a positive yield, a positive rate, positive appreciation. I could save money in a bank and actually make a good interest rate. If you go look at savings rates back several decades ago, they were decent. Like you sometimes 6, 8, 10, 12% on your money by putting it in the bank. Not only that, but that dollar represented gold. I could always go cash it out and get the gold. Okay. So in 1971, they unhitched that. Okay. Super subtle. Most people have no idea what that means to them. What that means to them is money doesn't exist anymore. There literally is no such thing as money. There is a currency, which is a medium of exchange up here, earn in currency, right? We exchange those pieces of paper back and forth for other pieces of paper or goods or services or whatever it might be, right? That's a medium of exchange. And then we have stores of value. The US dollar used to be both a medium of exchange and a store of value. So our parents and our grandparents could earn in dollars, put those dollars in the bank, and then they could still have that money grow and retire and buy a house and all of those types of things. Post 1971, not the case anymore. Okay. So when we earn in dollars, that's a medium of exchange. Okay. A medium of exchange, its intended purpose is to exchange. Okay. So we either exchange stuff to get it or we exchange it for stuff. Those are the only two things dollars are good for. Exchange stuff to get the dollars or exchange dollars to get the stuff. Those are the only two things. There's nothing else you would use dollars for, financially speaking. Okay. Now, store of value is safe. Store of value. Okay. This is the one that I think people get so messed up on. And it's because they made this little switch. They never told us when they took the dollar off the gold standard that the dollar was no longer a store of value, that it wasn't backed by anything. And basically it was only a medium of exchange. And it's only good for trading it for stuff or stuff for it. They didn't tell us that. I didn't grow up learning that. You didn't grow up learning that. So we have decades and decades and generations of habit and actual like family heritage and culture of earning dollars and keeping them in the bank. And so they did that. And then that culture, that habit, that family behavior, that thing that got passed down stayed. Because all of us grew up earning in dollars and then saving those dollars and those little coins in our piggy banks. Right. And then opening up a bank account when we were 15, 16, 17 years old, and then getting a job and earning in more dollars and then saving those dollars. And everything we do in this world is denominated in dollars, even our investments, right? You own stock. How many dollars are the stock worth? You own Bitcoin. How many dollars is the Bitcoin worth? You got to trade it for dollars for it to be worth anything. Okay. So when we stopped doing that, we didn't realize the store of value got disconnected. Okay. What's a store of value? A store of value is something that stores my value. Okay. And we don't need to overthink this. If you have a car, you have an alarm and you park it in your garage. Why? Because it's valuable and you're storing it. When you wake up tomorrow, you still want it to be there. Right. So when we store value, we're taking something of value and we're protecting it. We're keeping it safe. We're making sure that it doesn't get lost, that it doesn't get damaged, that when we go to use it again, it's still there. Okay. That's what a store of value does. Dollars do not do that. Inflation means the dollar is losing its purchasing power. When you exchange it, you're getting less stuff. When you exchange for it, you're getting less dollars. That's what that means. Okay. So when they say inflation this year was 7.5%, which is a lie, it's closer to 15, not to freak anyone out, but that's the reality. It means when you take $100, it only buys $85 worth of stuff now. Last year, it bought 100. Now it only buys 85. When you exchange a rate or a unit of your time for $1, you're only earning 85 cents. Whereas last year you used to earn a full dollar. So what does that mean? It means when I'm getting stuff, I'm getting less and less for the dollars that I have. And when I'm trading stuff for the dollars, I'm getting less and less dollars in exchange. So then I have to what? Work harder, exchange more, get more dollars. I've got to out earn that negative rate. Okay. So when I save in dollars, I'm not storing value. Right? Like imagine this with your car. You pull your car in the garage, right? And then tomorrow you wake up and the tires are gone. And the next day, all of the metalware is gone off the car. And the next day your exhaust is gone. And the next day your catalytic converter is gone. And the next day your muffler is gone. And the next day the leather is stripped off. And little by little, day by day, your car gets whittled down to where it's literally just the frame. Okay, you can't drive that. And that's what's happening with your dollars. So when I take a medium of exchange and I misuse it by treating it like a store of value, I'm intentionally doing that to myself, even if I don't know it. Right? Like I'm using something for the wrong function. Right? I wouldn't drive my car off a canyon to say I was storing its value. I would be destroying it on purpose. When you save your money in dollars, you're destroying it on purpose. Okay, because you've got less tomorrow when you wake up because it doesn't store value, right? So that's the thing we look at is we've got to store value. We've got to make sure that the dollar is there. We can use it again. Okay, so we protect it. We make sure it doesn't get lost. So we're storing the value. Now, one of the ways that we do not store the value is by speculating. I talk about speculating all the time. Speculating means I buy something hoping it's going to go up in value so that I can sell it to someone else at a higher price than I paid. And what that looks like would be, okay, let's take the car example. Okay, park my car in the garage, knowing that there's a 75% chance that the roof might collapse tomorrow. Okay. Or there's a 75% chance there might be two cars. I don't know which one it is. It's going to be the flip of a coin. Okay. That's not storing value. There's a 75% chance I wake up tomorrow and can't drive the vehicle. That value was not stored. You see that? And here's the thing is a store of value. Its job is not to multiply the asset, right? Like that's the investing. That's the part we're going to get to in a second. We use that word multiply. So when I'm storing value, the goal is not for me to multiply the thing I'm storing. The goal is for me to keep and protect so that I have use of the thing I'm storing so that it's there. Right. So with money, like what are those? There's volatility. That's a risk. That's something that can eat away at my money. There's taxes. That's something that can eat away at my money. There's inflation. That's something that can eat away at my money. There's lawsuits. There's debt. There's my own behavior and expenses. Those are all things that would eat away at my money. They would erode or they would, strip down my vehicle while it's in the garage. Okay. So when I'm storing value, I'm trying to eliminate as many of those things as possible. Okay. And that's what we're looking at. So when we're doing that, we're not doing it in dollars and we're not doing it in speculations. We're doing it in true stores of value. My favorite ones are, as you guys probably know already, life insurance, precious metals. Specifically, I like gold the best, and real estate. Okay. These are the three best, most established, longest lasting stores of value in existence. Okay, this is what the top 1% actually uses to store their value. Okay, now here's the deal with storing value. This is where like you turn a corner one way or the other, right? I had this conversation with someone today. I can store my value a number of ways. The best way to do it is no different than the earn. When the food is in front of me on the plate, eat the food, right? Store the value. There's not a bunch of things I've got to do that. Take the money away from yourself and put it somewhere you can't touch it. That's how you store the value, and you make it automatic so that every month it happens without your permission. So it just occurs. The more opportunity we give ourselves to not do it, we're not going to do it. Right? It's kind of like hiring a personal trainer. I would hire a personal trainer if I didn't have the motivation to show up to the gym, because I don't want to show up or not show up and have my trainer show up and then me waste their time and me waste my money and be embarrassed and all of those things. So the trainer gives me a reason to have to go to the gym, because left to my own devices, I'm probably not going to do it. Right? Storing value, I would use, again, top of the month, off the top of my income. I would save a percentage of my income. It would be automated, and it would be somewhere that's not easy for me to convert it back to dollars to spend it. Okay, guys, saving in dollars is the equivalent of being on a diet and leaving cookies in the kitchen. We all know we're going to eat the cookies. Why would we buy them? Right? You don't buy cookies for anything other than eating. So when we bought the cookies, we were like, I know I'm on a diet, but I just want to have the cookies there. Right? Nano says, I don't buy them. Good. That's the equivalent of being on a forced savings plan. Don't buy the freaking cookies. Do not save in dollars. Do you know what happens when we save in dollars? We exchange them for something else, because that's what they're for. That is what dollars are for. That's why we have such a low savings rate. We leave our money in something that leaves. It leaves through inflation and it leaves through expenses. Okay. So when we put it into something that leaves, guess what it's going to do? It's going to leave. So how do we prevent that? We put it in something that doesn't leave. Life insurance. Okay. That's not something I can spend. Precious metals. That's not something I can spend. Gold is no longer money. It's not currency. It's a store of value, right? Real estate, that's not something I can spend. Okay. So what is the process if I put money in life insurance? I have to take a loan against it. It's going to take about a week for me to get it. And then there's actually interest on that loan if I don't pay myself back. That's a positive, or I would say negative reinforcement. I have to pay that back because I don't want to pay the interest. And there's enough time involved and there's enough hassle and PITA factor. PITA factor means pain in the ass, PITA. There's enough PITA factor with getting the money out of it. By the time I get it, I don't want to spend it anymore. See that? So I store my value by making it hard for me to get to. Okay. Precious metal. Like I've got to sell the metals. That's a hassle. It takes time. I've got to ship them. It's got to go from point A to point B. And again, like I'm physically losing something. If I sell the metals, it's not conceptual. I was holding something in my hands. Now I'm not anymore. Right. So that's how I would put up that hedge against, okay, I'm not going to behave in a way where I can get rid of this because it's not something I can get rid of. Real estate, even worse. Okay. I try and pen a property to sell it. It's going to take freaking 60 days. Right. Or I try and get a loan to borrow against it. And the banks don't give you a loan unless you don't need one. Right. So it's going to take even longer. These are all ways for me to store my value. Okay. Now I do this off the top and I do this by earning more income. The number that we're going for is we want to be saving 40% of our gross income. Okay. Now, if you're not saving 40% of your gross income, you're going to do that through two different means. Number one is back to earn. Easiest way to save 40% of your gross income is make your gross income bigger. And don't raise your expenses when you do it. And you'll automatically have the ability to save 40% of it. The other way that you can do is you can reduce your expenses. Okay. Now, reducing expenses and earning income are two different, I would say, pedals of the same vehicle. Earning more income is the gas though. Okay. Reducing expenses, it's kind of a break because you can only slow down and you can only reduce so much before you're stopped. Okay. And I'm telling you, earning income is not only easier, it's actually funner. It's more fun to just go earn more income. It's more fun to think about, let me add instead of what I can't have and budgeting this and budgeting that. So if you're a client of mine, we tell you to do the personal financial purge. You do that once at the very beginning so that you can quickly get a boost. Okay. Get the expenses in, all of that stuff gets handled. And you're like, oh, great. I found $300. Great. Awesome. Cool. Done. Now let me go and earn more income. Okay. You immediately get the quick win and then you focus long-term on earning more income. And the beauty of that is there are correlated and non-correlated expenses. So we talk about the 1 to 5 game. When you spend money, there's 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s, right? 1s are dumb, 2s are bad timing, 3 is maybe, 4 is survival, 5 is income producing. Some things as expenses are very obvious that they're income producing, right? Like if I buy that thing, it will pay me money. And it's like, okay, good. I understand that. Some things are not so obvious and correlated, right? So if I don't invest in personal development, if I don't eat right, if I don't go to the gym, there's certain things that cost money that don't directly bring money in. But if I don't do them, it does impact my ability to earn income. It's easy to go in budget mode and budget all the way down and start cutting those things because we don't necessarily see the direct correlation on how that thing helped us bring income in. And then we cut out a successful action just in the name of lowering the expenses instead of the higher responsibility of, let me just go earn more income. Let me just go have another conversation, make another phone call, deliver another service, put in more hours so that I can afford that thing. Right. And that's a better way to do it. From a mindset standpoint, I'm telling you, it changes your attitude and your beingness when you're like, okay, I can just go expand and earn more. Okay. Now I'm not poo-pooing a budget, like have one. Businesses have one. People should have them too. Okay. But I'm telling you, set the budget, have the plan, and then go earn a lot of income. Earn more than you spend, not spend less than you earn. Bring this bar up, leave this bar down here, and then bring this one higher. You see that? So that's what I would say here. And when you do that, when you're saving 40%, this is the beautiful part. You don't need a budget anymore. When you're saving 40%, that's the point. That's the reason you have a budget, to be able to save 40%. So I save 40% of my income now. I don't have a budget. Okay, I used to, I don't now, because that was the goal. Now that I'm pulling this off the top, the other 60, I can do whatever the hell I want with it. Okay, I want to up the game. I want to do 50% savings rate instead of 40. Great, split it 50-50. As long as I automated it, pulled it off the top and put it into real stores of value. The other 50% of it, I'm going to leave in dollars and I'm going to do whatever I want to do with it. Right? These are the keys, guys. This is how you save more. And if you're like, okay, well, I'm earning, great, but are you saving? And not just are you saving in a real store of value? Okay. And if you're not saving more, that's probably the primary reason why. And then you've got to increase the income, and then you've got to use real stores of value when you increase the income, because when we increase the income, we're bringing in more dollars. We're earning in more US dollars. It sounds cool. It's awesome. You can hold, a rack and be like, man, I've got a bunch of dollars in my hand. But if you don't change those for a real store of value, you're going to have less dollars tomorrow. Like we talked about with the car. Okay. Now the other part is investing. Let's talk a moment about investing. We've done a couple of these on investing, so I don't want to spend too much time on the same things, but the purpose of investing, let's go back up to our triangle. The purpose of investing is to incrementally supplement our earned income so that over time we don't have to earn as much. We can earn less and less actively because we have more and more coming in passively. Right? Like imagine every year at the new year when you started in January, you didn't have to earn as much income because you got paid a residual from what you did with your finances last year. And every year that grew and grew and grew and grew and grew until that residual represented 100% of your saving, expenses, and taxes. Okay. That's what we're trying to do with investing. Therefore, if it does not produce income, I don't want anything to do with it. If it does not pay me consistent, predictable, proven income, okay, then it's not helping serve the purpose of what an investment should do for me at this point. Period. So I'm not buying Tesla because it's going to go up in value or go up in price. I'm not buying Bitcoin because it's going to the moon. I'm not buying a home because I think it's going to appreciate 20% in the next 12 months. Those don't serve the purpose of why I would invest. I'm investing so that I can replace my income. Okay. This is where people go wrong on investing. When you get to the point of, okay, I earned and then I saved. Most people don't save in a store of value. And here, I want to tie this together really quick with the saving. When you save a lot, like let's say you save up $100,000 and then you're like, it's time to go invest. The decision you're going to make with $100,000 is much better than the decision you're going to make with 20. Okay. Cause at 100, you're like, okay, that's a lot of money to lose. So I'm going to be more skeptical. I'm going to investigate more. I'm going to do more due diligence than when I'm with 20, because with 20, I'm like, okay, I don't want to, no one wants to lose money, but it's like not as bad. It's easier for you to lose that because it's easier for you to get it back. With 100, it's harder for you to lose it because it's harder for you to get it back. This is why I don't tell you dollar cost average into the stock market with $50 a month. That's what Wall Street wants. They want more of your income. Okay, you don't care about the $50 because you wasted that on Starbucks and whatever else. But when it's like 50 grand, when it's like 100 grand, I know that's a lot. That's a big number to get to, but trust me, you will be a better investor because of it. Not only that, when it was in a real store of value, like you had it in life insurance or precious metals or real estate, $100,000 worth of that makes it an even harder decision. Because now you're having to give something up. You're like, I currently have $100,000 worth of gold. I currently have $100,000 worth of real estate. So if I'm investing, I'm going to pull the value out of this either by selling it or borrowing against it to do this investment. And when I do this investment, it jeopardizes the thing that I currently have. Right? What's that saying? One bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. I don't go around catching birds, but it's true. Like if I have the precious metal, the life insurance, the real estate, I'm going to be less interested in speculating with the investment because I'm risking not only a larger sum, but also a real object. Okay. Versus if it's just in digits or paper and it's a little number, easy to lose, easy to speculate. Okay. I wanted to tie that together because I don't think anyone ever taught me that till later on. So investing, there's two routes I can go here. I can either invest here, or I can speculate. Okay. So we talked about investing and speculating before. We're not going to spend a bunch of time on this, but I'm going to talk about why one person would do this versus that. Why would I invest? Why would I speculate? I would invest because I'm financially literate, because I understand that I'm trying to replace my income. I understand that when I invest and I invest for income, it supplements my earned income. And if I keep doing that and I keep earning and saving and investing for income that supplements my income, and then earning and saving and investing and going over and going through the revolutions of this triangle, eventually I will for sure 100% achieve financial independence. Not a gamble. Nothing has to go to the moon. None of that. I just keep doing the thing. Right. And if I keep doing the thing, I'll achieve the result no matter what. It's impossible not to. It's math. If I earn, save, and invest, and I invest for income and just keep doing that, it's going to result in financial independence. There's no secret there. That's why I said at the beginning, this is the most powerful thing, because it doesn't matter how you do anything else as long as you do this. Now, there are ways to optimize, but I'm telling you at the core, do this, right? So I'm financially literate. That's why I would invest. Okay. And I understand that I'm building for long term. I understand that I'm building for legacy. Okay. Why would I speculate? I would speculate for a couple of reasons. Okay. First one being, I'm looking for a shortcut. I don't want to put the work in. And I think it's easier for me because speculating happens in all stages. And I'm great at doing this. I'll look at somebody that's speculating and I'll determine, are they speculating because they don't earn enough income? They don't know how to go earn more income. So their solution is to buy Bitcoin or meme stocks or Dogecoin. And that's their way of earning more income because they don't know how to actually go earn more. That's one of the reasons someone will speculate. Okay. And either they don't know how to earn more income or they don't want to. They're lazy or they're not sure how to do it. Right. If I don't know how to do it, then I'm going to be like, well, I'm not sure. I don't know what to do. So I'm going to just buy this thing and hope it goes up. Right. Or if I'm lazy, I know what to do. I don't want to do it because I don't like that. And I'm not willing to put the work in. I'm not willing to sacrifice. I'm not willing to make the exchange. I would rather place the responsibility on an inanimate object that's controlled by everybody else. Do you see how that's the lowest responsibility decision someone can make financially? I'm going to place my financial future on the arbitrary price of an inanimate object, which is controlled by the mass populace of everybody else. I'm going to leave it up to them. Okay, guys, when has them ever made a good decision? Like, it's not something I would do. It's terrible. That's what speculating comes down to. So when I'm earning income or not earning income, in this case, I would speculate because I'm trying to get out of having to earn income or trying to solve the fact that I don't know how to. Okay. Saving, same thing. Someone would speculate with saving because they look at like everything up to this point is true. They look at the US dollar. They realize that thing goes down. I do not want to save in that. Right. And then they're like, well, where do I save? And then again, financial illiteracy steps in like the grandmaster, it always does. And they're like, well, I don't understand any of these things. All of my friends are buying, insert speculation here, crypto, Doge, Bitcoin, meme stock, Tesla, whatever it might be, NFTs. And so I'm just going to save into that. And I'm going to hope that that thing goes up in value. And here's how they justify it. I'm already losing money in dollars. Okay. And, I don't have that much in the first place. If I lose it all, I just go earn more again. But this thing might go to the moon. If it goes to the moon, not only did I save, I knocked out two birds with one stone. I also, quote unquote, invested. And now I don't have to worry about being financially free because I'll just strike it rich. Okay. This is not a new mental mechanism. This has been around forever. This is why the gold rush existed. This is why the tech bubble existed. This is why every mania in the world ever has existed. Is somebody got the bright idea, hey, if I just do that instead, it might be a shortcut. And they didn't know better. Guys, I'm from Alaska. Do you know how many people died in Alaska trying to play gold miner? Like they thought they would just go up to Alaska and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go mining and it's going to be great. Most people didn't get rich gold mining in Alaska. Okay. Most people that went up there either died or got stuck. They didn't have enough money to leave Alaska. Okay. That's what happens. You go there and then you get stuck and then you can't leave. Right. So this is something that we want to avoid on the speculating side with saving. And then with investing, same thing. Again, very logical all the way up to this point. They realize, okay, I've got, 10 grand or 50 grand or 100 grand. And if I invested in real estate, that pays me, like I said, 12%. Well, 12% of 50,000 is $500. 50,000 divided by $500 a month equals 100 months. It's going to take me 100 months for me to get my money back. That's way too long. That thing looks quicker. Let me do that instead. That's what it comes down to. Okay. Now I talked about this the other week. A good speculator and this is actually commonality with investing, both of these are unemotional. Okay, because there are professional investors and there are professional speculators. Both of them are unemotional. They're unemotional. They're not monogamous at all. Like, they're not attached to any single asset. An investor, they go where the numbers are. Okay, they're going to look at the numbers. That's what they base their decision on. A speculator, they're going to go with, again, probability and trend. Okay, and they'll drop a speculation just as quick as they'll pick one up. So if I'm investing and I'm emotional, if I'm speculating and I'm emotional, that's already a sign that I'm doing it wrong. Right? So when I'm investing, like, I want to look at, again, number one, it's got to produce income. And I've talked about this over and over and over. It's got to produce income. I've got to like it. I've got to understand it. It's got to fit me. It's got to fit my goals. It's got to be vital. And I'm not going to pay more than it's worth. Right? Those are all the points I've got to cover with investing. Okay. With speculating, different points, but I still have to be unemotional. Okay. And I would do this over and over and over. Now, here's where people get stuck. We talked about, again, this triangle of wealth, very simple, but why don't more people do it? Why are people not doing it? Number one is they put their money into things that are speculations from the get-go, and then they can't get them out. Okay. Here's a speculation. Let me show you the wildest speculation that I know. Putting my money in a retirement account that's managed by proven criminals, hoping that in 60 years, I will have money to retire, or 40 years, or whatever the number would be. That's a speculation. There's a lot of hope involved. Okay, hoping that the economy will hold up, hoping that I'll earn certain rates of return, hoping that the fees don't out-eat the performance, hoping that inflation doesn't catch on. And then what happens is I put it in there and now I can't get it out. And because I can't get it out, I can't go invest. I can't be financially free because I've deferred every last dollar that I had until I'm 60. Now I'm committed. I have to work the rat race. Do you see that? And then when I pull it out, the worst part about it, when I pull it out, inflation happens. I've got to pull out way more money to buy the same things I bought yesterday. And the tax rates went up because they always have and they always will. So I get taxed at a higher rate on more dollars. And the entire time it was there, Wall Street earned their fees. Think about that. That's a speculation. When I speculate, it locks money up. Okay. Let's say I didn't do that. Let's say that I just bought, Bitcoin or foreign exchange, Forex trading, one of those two things. Let's just pick Bitcoin. I bought a bunch of Bitcoin, not even in a retirement account. I just bought a bunch of Bitcoin. And let's say I did good. I speculated. I bought it at 10 grand and it went to 50. And now I'm a millionaire. Well, guess what I have now? I have a huge tax problem. I can't pull that money out. I'm going to pay capital gains taxes on it. Or if I had less than 12 months holding that Bitcoin, it's going to be income tax. Okay, that means I'm going to pay 40 or 50% of my gains in taxes. So I can't get out of it. I can't liquidate. I can't use it to then go invest for income. I'm stuck. I've just got to keep holding it until, I figure out how taxes work, or I get a strategy, or something happens, or I just lose it. Right? So it slows us down because that's not what we're looking for. We're not looking for this giant boost in price. We're not looking for this giant boost in value. We're looking for consistent income. Okay. We don't want things to slow this down. Again, I'm going to reiterate this. The rate at which I make these revolutions is how wealth is built. Okay. Anything that slows that down is a liability to my financial freedom. Okay. So if I invest or buy something that I can't easily get out of, to then supplement my income, to then reinvest and go buy more and do this earn, save, invest triangle, that's a liability even if the price went up. Right? So I want to stay away from that because it slows me down. Okay. Now, the other factor here is people will invest. So this is on the speculating side. People will invest on the investing side, and they also didn't do the math. So they put in 50,000 and they're making 12%. They're like, man, that's awesome. And then they kind of get like this loss of having this on the 50,000, like, oh man, when am I going to get the 50 back? And they start paying attention to this one little deal that they have, and they stop doing the very thing that caused them to have the 50,000 in the first place. They're not pushing as hard on their sales. They're not pushing as hard on their business. They're not working as many hours. They're not improving their skills like they used to before they did the first deal. Okay. So they do the one investment or the two investments, and then they slow down. This is why I don't do the rental property thing. Here's the trend I see. You buy 3 of them and then you stall out because you don't know how to get into commercial properties. And then you stop doing this and you stop doing this because now you're spending all your time playing landlord. Okay. Landlord is not what got me the first money to invest. Okay. Running my business did, making sales did, working, serving others. That's how I got the money to invest. So anything that jeopardizes this, guys, I want to reiterate, whether it's a speculation or an investment, anything that jeopardizes my ability to do the very things that caused me to have money to invest in the first place is a liability. Cut it off, get rid of it. Okay. It doesn't matter how sexy it is, doesn't matter how attractive it is, because again, it comes down to your financial independence. Are you serious about this? If you're serious about this, you want this triangle going as fast as it can possibly go. Okay. So guys, I'm going to wrap up here for tonight. If you have questions, what I want to do is have you drop them in the comments in the chat. We'll go live and answer these. If you have any questions that you are wanting to share and maybe keep anonymous, you can drop those as well. And we'll go over them. I won't say who you are. I'll just read them. And then again, if you're having challenges right now, like you're in one of these boats of, okay, I'm not earning enough income, or I'm having trouble saving, or when I do save, I'm currently putting it in cash, right? Or, you know, I'm investing with speculations and I've lost money that way, or I know I should be getting passive income instead. I want to talk with you and talk you through what needs to happen. Okay. So if you have questions on that, drop those as well, and I'll go live with you. What I want to do first here is just hit our Facebook comments. Good to see everyone on Facebook, by the way. Justin and Brad, good to see you guys. Justin says he likes his kids, all 7 of them. That's how you like your kids. If you had 1 of them and then you decided to have 6 more, it means you liked the first one enough to have 6 more of them. David, good to see you. So Justin says, thanks to Wealth Dynamics, I am now saving over 50% of my income for investing. That's amazing. Guys, I want to reread that. Justin says, thanks to Wealth Dynamics, I'm now saving over 50% of my income for investing. And I love this because that's a real guy in the comments. That's a real person. So when I talk about this, it's easy to be like, that's not for me. That's not real. That's all just talk. No, that's someone in the comments watching right now. And it could be you. And the thing that Justin did to do there, to get there, is the same thing we're telling you to do. If you just do what Justin did, you'll save 50% of your income for investing as well. Okay. So that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Justin. I'm going to go into our comments here on Zoom. Good to see everyone on Zoom here. All right, we have a really good question from Mark. Let me bring Mark on really quick. All right, we should have Mark on in just a second. Hey, Mark, how are you tonight?
Hi, Jerry. Nice to see you. Great course, as always. I really like you reiterating these things, and it always brings up more questions and keeps me focused on my goals. And my question is, I'm at the point now where I'm making a pretty good income, and I have the ability to make more income if I'm willing to put in more time, which I have. The problem which I am running into now is I have a sacred account. I have a pretty sizable savings in gold and silver, and I have enough real estate where I'm comfortable with and don't want to expand anymore on that. So I'm in a situation where I'm sort of forced to save money in the bank, which I hate doing because of the lack of efficiency in keeping money there. So in that situation, maybe you can elaborate what I can do to help my situation and be more efficient.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I also want to say, Mark, and Mark probably realizes that that's a really good position to be in, where it's like, I've got so much saved and invested that it's actually like an inconvenience now that I've got this money to save on just trying to find where to put it, right? That's a great problem to have. So 2 different things I would say there. The first one being, you know, if you're saving it in a bank, you already know, like you said, that's losing value. It's not efficient. At least it's liquid, it's accessible, right? But what I think of is immediately, okay, well, how much do you need to be able to invest and in your next deal, right? So what's your, you know, cost per unit, whether it's, when I do an investment, it's 50,000 or it's 100,000. And how quickly are you getting to that number, right? Because again, that's okay. We're saving. And if we're saving at a great enough rate or quickly enough, we can invest much sooner. So that's the first thing I look at is what's that number and what's the accumulation time? Like, is it going to take me a month to get there? Is it going to take me a year to get there? Like, what's my time horizon? And that's going to dictate for me where I put that. If it's like a month, I'm probably going to, put it either into gold really quickly or leave it in cash and just put it directly into whatever the deal would be. Okay. But if it's like a year or several years, I want to be able to save that in a real store value. So I'd still be looking at life insurance. I'd still be looking at gold. If I was looking at real estate, and here's one thing I picked up with the real estate, I would look at, okay, when I'm buying the real estate, am I buying that as an investment or a store of value? Okay. Because if it's as an investment, there is more responsibility with that. There's tenants, there's whatever it might be, right? So if I'm buying it as an investment, that's one thing. If I'm buying it as a store of value, that's a different thing, right? I could literally just buy a single family home or a plot of land or something that it doesn't even have to have tenants. It just has to be a thing. And I can park money into it. I can then liquidate it or borrow against it later. And there's not the hassle of a tenant or a landlord relationship or whatever it might be, right? So that's one thing I look at as well, okay? Because you can do real estate as a store of value or as an investment or as both, okay? So I'd separate that out a little bit. And then thirdly is I would look at with investing, do I need to be maybe looking at things that aren't giving me so much, I would say, again, the PETA factor, pain in the ass factor, so much PETA factor where I don't know if I want to do more of them. Okay. Real estate's great, but it can turn into that. There's this zone of buying real estate where, I'm able to self-manage it. Then I get to a point where it's not something I can self-manage. And I've got to get past this chasm of having enough of it to be able to hire a good manager that I trust, that I can stay with long-term. That's a game of scale. So I've kind of got to push through that. So if I'm not willing to, that can slow me down where I'm like, I don't know if I want more tenants, right? I don't know if I want to be a landlord on more properties. That's something to look into is, okay, well, is there maybe another way to do that where I don't have the PETA factor, the activity level, the responsibility with investing? Same could be said if it was, let's say, day trading or stocks. Like at a certain point, I might not want to look at stocks anymore. I might be tired of that. And it's like, I don't want to add more of that to my portfolio. So those are a couple of things that I think of there that I would look at, Mark. That's an awesome question, by the way. Thank you again for asking that. All right, let's see if we have any other questions here in our Zoom chat. All right, I think that's the same question there. I don't see anything else on Zoom. Let me just check Facebook one more time. All right, again, if you guys have any questions relating to this, drop them in the comments. All right, I think that's everything. Good, I don't see anything else, guys. So what we'll do is we're gonna tune out for tonight. If you're watching and you're a client of mine, thanks for tuning in. If you're new, we will be back again next Friday, same time, 10 p.m. Eastern. And if you have not gotten a copy of my book, Blueprint to Financial Freedom, okay? Everything we talked about tonight is in this book, right? So if you watched this and you're like, okay, well, I would like to be able to refresh on this, or I'd like more detail, or I'd like more context or direction, go to jerryfetta.com/B2F. That's Jerry Fetta. That's my first and last name.com / the letter B, the number 2, the letter F. Get a copy of my book, Blueprint to Financial Freedom. Otherwise, guys, we will tune out for tonight's course and I'll see you all next week. Have a great weekend.